We have awareness. And awareness is quite simply when you intentionally use it, you can go, I'm going to place my awareness now on my partner.
You cannot have awareness of things if you don't pause, if you don't slow down and take a breath.
I'm intentional. Before I stand up, I have a practice that I do internally. It's like, just for today, I will ferociously love and accept myself, my wife, my kids, and life.
All the stream of thoughts about your workday, that conversation with your boss that didn't go how you wanted, blah, 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 what you gotta do tomorrow about it, and all of that, that just needs to be paused.
I'm going to be fully with you for these last moments and say goodbye and give a hug, but give a proper hug. You know, that like a real quality hug, a quality kiss, quality eye contact. So welcome into the He Wants, She Wants Marriage podcast. In this episode, we're talking about how to create a strong relationship in the midst of the chaos of everyday married life. The number one enemy to connection in marriage is living marriage on autopilot. Considering the mountain of chores and responsibilities and things modern husbands and wives need to tend to, autopilot will not cut it ever. As I say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yes, good intentions. And we all have good intentions. But good intentions are not enough. And what happens very often with good intentions is that they remain either unspoken. So you have a moment of inspiration and you say to yourself internally, oh, I'm going to show up better. But you don't actually have a conversation on that because, as you mentioned, we have a lot of things to do, everyday life, and it just gets forgotten very quickly. And the other way they can be is abstract. So they're not actionable, like, yes, at the end of an argument, my love, I am telling you, I'm going to be so much more present from now on, meaning nothing, because it's not an action, it's not a something that you can implement, it's abstract. And so although it's a really good intention, it's going to get lost.
I lived out there for so long. It's a really key thing to speak to, because we end up perceiving, I know it has happened to us, but it's like every couple in the world, we end up perceiving that the enemy is the other person. And that's definitely one thing we want to say here is again and again and again, the other person is not the enemy, but it's this mystical thing that we call marriage, that we call connection, that we call that bond together. It's whether that's working for your marriage or not, and living in a fog of non-specific intentions, it's a real killer. Everybody has a good intention. Everybody wants happiness. Everybody wants to avoid suffering. So it's really key to build that foundation at the beginning. Within, what we would speak to quite often is the amount of chores and responsibilities. I mean, same shit, different day can really set in, and it does in so many marriages, because there's so much stuff that we have to tend to. I mean, there's no point going through the 1,000 boxes on the checklist of modern life, from taxes, family, babysitter, dogs, kids, school, in-laws, parents. It's craziness. One key thing that brings a lot of simplicity is realizing, well, in the midst of all of that, you have one thing that when you take it under your control, well, now you're in the driving seat. Chaos is a frame of mind. It's you can get lost, and what happens in that is we have awareness, and awareness is quite simply, it's that part of your mind that when you intentionally use it, you can go, I'm going to place my awareness now on my partner. I'm going to place my awareness now on, whatever the next action is. But there are two things that takes our awareness out of our conscious control. It's our own mind, which is, you might be with your partner, but then you have a sudden thought about the problem with your neighbor, about, did I book my chiropractor? Christ, I missed my chiropractic appointment this morning. Whatever. It's like whatever comes up in your mind drags your awareness, and then your eyes are gone, your mind is gone, and you're camping out in this, and your partner is there, and you're blank faced, you're not listening, and then the arguments come. So our own mind and the thoughts that come up in it drags our awareness and creates distraction, and that builds the feeling of chaos. And then the other thing is our environment. A classic thing that can happen, a lot of people can relate to it. You're coming home from work, and in your environment, I mean, you drive up to the garage door, and from you see your neighbor Tommy that says, "Hey, Todd, come over here for a moment," to you notice that your your lawn needs mowed, to you notice the broken shed door that you're like, God, I have to ring the company about that, to your kids come out and go, "Hey, Dad," and like, come play or come help me with homework or whatever. And you might have had the intention 5 minutes ago, oh, it's my baby, it's like it's my partner's birthday, or I really want to speak to them because I had a tough day at work and I want to go in. But your environment drags your awareness here, there, and everywhere, and you don't know you're ringing the company about fixing the door, and you didn't go in to your partner, and you had the beautiful good intention. But again, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
We saw a video with the girls the other day. It was really funny. It was this woman that was coming in and she wanted to make herself a sandwich. But then she looks for the bacon and it's not in the fridge. And then as she opens the fridge, she realizes the fridge is dirty. So she goes, okay, I'm gonna wipe the fridge. Then she goes to the press for getting the spray and the cleaners and realizes that they haven't been bought and they haven't been put there. So she wants to go to whatever other cupboard to get her wallet to go buy the stuff, but then that cupboard is untidy. And it's like by the end, clearly they're making a sketch and the husband is the one with the phone. And by the end, she's just in the middle of the kitchen and the husband is like, would you like me to go buy you some bacon? And she's like, yes, I only wanted a sandwich. But this is really what happens. I know the example you brought was for husbands, and I was like, but we all relate to that. It's like how many times I know I come into a room with one intention, and then that is forgotten because there is so many different things that can start catching my attention to the point that I really don't even know. I don't know. We joke that I open the fridge and I don't even know what I was looking for in the fridge anymore. But we do that then in relationship. And that just whatever conversation was started, maybe your partner, while you're in the middle of all of that, is saying something to you and you haven't registered. And that's not being bad. Like the good intention is there, but again, is abstract. And then from there inside, you go, I'm going to be more present. I'm going to make to-do lists so that I'm going to be more on point. But it all gets lost in the middle of it.
Maybe it's a dude thing, a guy thing, but I don't think so. But we want happiness and we want to avoid suffering. The major cost or price that we pay when we get distracted, and our awareness is being determined by our environment, it's being determined by whatever burp comes up in our head. It's like, oh, my awareness goes there. And the major cost is when we're living in that state of being, our partner and our kids will never be satisfied with our time because we're not present with them. And as a result, arguments happen. As a result, you can come in and be with your partner, but they'll tend to be clingy. They'll tend to just not be satisfied because why? We're all searching to feel seen, heard, and safe and connected, and really have a partner that's there fully with us. And our kids are looking for the same from us. So nobody is ever satisfied. So the kids, they're looking for more and more and more, and that builds the frustration, and that builds the story of I just don't have enough time. But the chaos internally builds up, and we end up living in this same shit different day level of unowned stress, and nobody is ever satisfied. So everybody is wanting more and more time. Arguments happen more often. Conversations last, an hour that, hey, fully present, they might never have happened, or it would have just been 5 or 10 minutes of a real harmonious flowing of connection. So there's a massive price to pay. And until you wake up, and this episode is about, there's a incredibly powerful strategic way of viewing your awareness, and it can really eliminate pretty much, depending on how far people really take it on board, can eliminate chaos from your married life and brings connection and brings flow and love and joy back as at the heart center of married life. And hey, how priceless is that?
Yes, because not being seen is a big thing in marriage. And when we're caught in our own thoughts or in the things that we need to do and stuff, we by default can't have that presence to see the other person or the kids. So yeah. So the thing that we're gonna talk about today is the solution to this, the secret to that, and is segment intending. Now, that's not our concept. We took this from Abraham Hicks and their teachings, and they speak to that as a life hack, which is wonderful. But today we're going to give you 3 steps as to how we can apply this to the relationship with the intention to bring in connection
Mm.
moment to moment. So the first step of it is noticing a segment. What's a segment? The segment is like literally something is finished and there's a new thing starting. And how do we notice? That's the most important part, is to actually notice that. And noticing it, we do that by pausing. We talk about the power pause.
This is becoming really common, this power pause.
Yes.
It's a juicy one. It's so powerful.
Yes, because so much, you cannot have awareness of things if you don't pause, if you don't slow down and take a breath. And that is actually the simplest way to pause, is to consciously take a breath at key moments. And those key moments, you will start seeing how those key moments are the moments where a segment is finishing and another one is starting. Now, they can be segments can be as big or as small. And of course, the more you practice, actually, the smaller they get. Because at the beginning, it could be literally, oh, one big segment is the preparation for going to work. One big segment is my work day, and then another segment is I'm coming home. But those can get way smaller. One segment can be I'm making my cup of coffee. The next segment is I'm preparing my documents or whatever. The next, so they can get smaller and smaller and smaller. And there are key moments where you can practice that pause, like anytime that you find a door in your way, like literally you're opening a door to enter in a room, or you're closing a door to exit a room, you're opening your car door and getting in. Anytime you find a door, if you just took a moment and took one breath, that's usually the end of one segment and the beginning of another.
Well, it's like that, awareness is determined by your environment. When we're going through a door, there's a transition from one room to a next, or from your home to the car. It's from one environment to another. So it's a really potent moment. You brought that up the other day. It's wonderful.
Yeah, because one of the questions in this work, when I'm coaching and stuff, one of the questions I get most often is like, where do I put this pause? If I don't, I'll forget it, and it's
Yeah.
it's very normal to forget. So a door, we're gonna meet doors. There's like doors all the time in a day. So that's one key moment.
Okay.
Another key moment is chairs. Anytime you're sitting,
Mm.
or it could be an armchair, your kitchen chair, it could be the chair at your office. Anytime you're sitting and anytime you're standing up, there is an end of something that you've been doing and a beginning of something else. You're ending the preparation of a meal and you're beginning the meal. You're ending one meeting with a client and then you're moving to. There's always
In and out of the car. I'm just, it's like the
yeah,
to and from work, or to and from how many different family trips. The taxi driving the kids, that can be such a thing of chaos. And the amount, we do it with great love, but you have a number of kids and all these extracurricular activities, in and out of the car, in and out of the car, in and out of the car. If every single time you sat in the chair for the journey and you come off the chair or the seat of the car, you did a power pause, one breath. Well, how impactful would that be?
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. One other moment of pause is when you pick up your phone. So the phone can be another reminder. If you're doing it consciously while you're picking up the phone, maybe to start a communication with someone, or you're putting it down because you've ended it, that's a good time to pause. And it's also a good time to pause if you just took it and you're like, oh, I'm pausing and I don't even know why I have my phone in my hand. Actually, my partner is sitting in front of me. We were meant to have coffee together, or my kid is talking to me, but I have the phone in my hand. But because the phone has become a reminder to pause, I'm now pausing and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll put this down and I'll actually pay attention to the person in front of me. That alone, without anything
The-
else, is going to turn your relationship around.
yeah. One other one that's just coming to me, we didn't speak to it, but is bed. Because I know for myself, I used to get up from bed, and for years, it's like the emotional signature of my previous day would just on autopilot take off. My mind, my feet wouldn't have hit the floorboards, and I'm thinking work. I'm thinking God of that thing, and I'm into a stream of chaos. Whereas now, once I sit out and my ass cheeks are still, they're still in the mattress, I'm intentional. Before I stand up, I have a practice that I do internally. It's like, just for today, I will ferociously love and accept myself, my wife, my kids, and life. And it's intentional.
Hmm.
Then and only then, I'll say that a couple of times that it imbues my nervous system with, okay, you're not getting back into chaos. Now, it's not that the chaos isn't there.
That's hilarious. Because there's me thinking you're just so tired and you're sitting at the edge of the bed. I'm looking at you, go, look at him, like he's really struggling this
See,
morning.
okay, so for years I've been doing this, and you've been there. Oh, the poor bastard.
Yes,
What a prisoner of life. Well,
true story.
true story. Okay, I'm glad we've clarified that. I'm not sitting there like, death row, just about to walk the green mile. It's like, oh, by the time he gets to breakfast, he's got his shit together. God, he's some man. No, I'm actually living intentionally.
Okay, that's where unspoken intention.
Unspoken intentionalities. All right. That's very relieving. So,
For me too.
for you too. Oh, this is a great sense of relief now that you finally know the insight, intimacy into me. You see,
That's how it works. That's how it works.
This-
Seriously, but that's how it works because that can build such an unspoken frustration. And we have our filters in how we see things. It's true.
Do you need a Prozac, Mark? Yes.
Yeah, but you're like looking at your partner maybe in a moment of pause and you're thinking, what are they doing? Like, what's wrong? They're just stopping. Clearly, something is wrong, or they're not motivated, or whatever. That's just too funny.
So, instead of bringing your marriage down, if you start practicing the power pause, tell your partner, you know, I'm doing a power pause. No, I'm not dissociating and going into a pit of depression. Power pause. Technically, I want to bring the reminder of an if then. When we set these if then pre-commitments, so there's these, what are there? There's four. There's the door, is a powerful transition from one segment to the next. There's the chair or seat, you're sitting down or you're getting up. There was the bed and the phone. And the phone.
And there was one more that we didn't mention yet, but it was actually your partner's. You brought it up when we were writing the episode. It was like when you're coming into a room and you see your partner's face. Well, that could be actually a good reminder to take a pause, a breath, and then that can be a moment for expressing appreciation or just, glancing, looking in each other's eyes, whatever that is, a moment of touch, a moment of connection that just lands you there in that segment. So that's the first step. Like, and it's the we spoke about it a bit because it's so important. The noticing is such an important part of it. Now, what we notice it, so what do we do with it? When you notice, so when you've paused, the next step is to actually end the segment that is finished intentionally. So you're coming to your front door after your segment of driving home from work, door, pause. Okay, that's ended. So whatever you were doing before, all the stream of thoughts about your work day, that conversation with your boss that didn't go how you wanted, blah, 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 what you gotta do tomorrow about it, and all of that, that just needs to be paused. You're gonna go back to it when the segment is back on that point. But for now, with that breath, you're pausing that to then move into the next. So,
I have the scene from Gladiator. I don't know, totally off script this, but do you know where he's like, he's there and he says to the other guys, when those gates open. But it's humorous as coming through here, and I don't mean to bring that it's like married life is like walking out into the arena, into the Colosseum. Albeit sometimes it can seem a bit crazy. But it's actually a real key thing, because what he's actually doing is he's focusing the guys going, hey, with intentionality, we're going to meet this.
mhm.
So I was sort of smiling to myself with it's like an inappropriate humor type thing, but possibly it's a powerful one. It's you're setting a powerful intention, and it's only by noticing that one segment has ended and you end that well.
Mm,
There is something in the ending of a segment, and I think it's very important in modern culture, because we're conditioned to be so forward leaning. We're always on the march to the horizon. We're on the march to that goal. We're on the march to doing more. We don't tend to finish what we've just done very tidily or well at all, and we bring that residual crap from it. We don't end it well. We don't say goodbye well. We don't kiss our partners well, because we're already in work mentally. We're already on the golf course. We're already, you're going out for a girls' night out. You're already there laughing, sending messages, but you're not there with your partner or with your kids going, I'm going to be fully with you for these last moments and say goodbye and give a hug, but give a proper hug. You know, that like a real quality hug, a quality kiss, quality eye contact. And that's just so nourishing. When you get those final segments of the segment that's ending, sending your kids to bed, there's so many of those moments that are so key.
mhm.
When you get those right, things start to go right in marriage.
Yeah, there's almost like that you're ending a segment that if that segment never came back, you have ended it so with such presence and so completely in a way that satisfies you, that if you never get back to that, and we practice that, is like we always say goodbye, even if it's like a silly short trip to go and get the milk or whatever. But it's like you never know, and it's not being morbid, but it's a practice that brings you into that present again, brings you into pausing, and actually allows you to fully complete that section. And also, yes, of course, stopping things from leaking into the next moment, which will keep your awareness caught.
Super quickly, from a neurophysiological perspective, it was Tony Buzan, the founder, or the guy that created the idea of mind maps. He studied for the second portion of his life all about memory. We have this incredible tendency of remembering really well the last experience we've had in an environment or with a person. We remember that really well. So if you get that right, your partner is going to be amped, your kids are going to be amped. They're remembering that. It gets locked into our nervous system, that last moment. But if you end it that you're already in work and you're not fully with them, hey, they're going to remember it just as well. And they're going to be left with this lingering unease in their system. And the other time, which is coming into segment 3, is we really remember the first moments of a segment. So our entire machinery of our nervous system locks in these moments, the final moments of a segment and the first moments of a segment.
Mhm.
This is why this practice, when you guys nail this, and you all can, it's almost it's unimaginably high leverage what you can gift your marriage and your everyday experience of life together.
Yeah, yeah. That's because like the last thing and then the first thing that you're meeting is the most impactful. So that was the third step, is like how you begin your next segment. And so you've noticed, you've ended, and then you begin. And the same thing applies. So it's like there is an intentionality into how you're entering that next space, that next portion of your day, that next moment. And if it's with your partner, what intention are you setting? What I'm coming in the door to, well, the first segment is actually saying hello, I've been away for the day, or it's saying good morning, we've been asleep for the night. That is one thing. I know, like the mornings where you consciously stop and I'm awake for it, of course, but that you're looking at me and there's like a first moment of good morning, that's sets the tone of the day already way nicer than when we're just going on automatic. Okay, I'm just getting up and I'm getting up and whatever, and you're sitting on the side of the
I'm sitting at the side of the bed looking at it,
stoned, which I now know what it is. But that is so important, and it accumulates both ways. It actually, as you mentioned, it accumulates in a sort of not very helpful way when you've said goodbye, or you haven't even, you've just gone out the door caught in the next moment, and then you finish the phone call during the day already caught in the next moment. By the end, by the time you come home and you're meeting again, all of those moments that have ended not properly and that have not started with the intention of connecting are accumulating. And then you wonder why you're just, you know, having dinner together but having nothing to talk about, or on the phone because the phone becomes more interesting. That's literally what happens when instead, when all those segments are ended and started with that intentionality, it accumulates in a good way and the whole day goes different.
We are mapped to respond to this.
Mm.
That's what I want people knowing at home. The same shit, different day, unwittingly taking for granted your partner, taking for granted your kids and the life that you have. Well, it's like the savage tragedy of modern life is that our nearest and dearest are the ones that we give the poorest quality of our attention to. You know, we'll nail the hello to a new client. Oh, hi, my name is, and you bring the high energy there because, hey, they're important. Your boss comes into work. Hey, man, how was your weekend? How'd you get on with the golf? You give the best. And when you say goodbye to these people, you nail it because you know it's important. And this is where this practice, it is a practice. And you don't need to wait around for your partner to practice. You lead with the practice. Don't wait around for good humor to be there. It's not going to be there. It takes effort. It takes effort. This is how you bring the good humor, by practicing like this. And you do this for a week, you do it for 30 days, and then it just becomes a way of life. Hey, your low moments are going to become higher. Your high moments are going to become more often. And you're going to be like, was it all in that one episode? Yeah, it is that powerful. We tap into the most important things. And this is what we did naturally in the beginning of relationships. We tended to, like with the boss, like with the new client, hey, the new partner, we tended to it.
Mm.
A child is born. Every time you say goodbye, every time you say hello, we notice those segments. But when you get into the thick of marriage, hey, it takes a bit of grunt, it takes some effort. And with this effort, guys, the comeback, the prize, like the greatest moments of married life, everyday experience becomes available to you. Like the emotionality, the joy, the happiness, the peace, the bliss. And also you get to distance yourself from the suffocation of that same shit different day, the hopelessness, the I don't have enough time that we tend to run from.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes. And imagine how powerful this becomes if you're doing it together. So as we always say, to share the episode with your partner, because you doing it by yourself, it's already a massive shift in the relationship. But both of you pausing and both of you consciously saying hello, consciously with intentionality, spending time together, taking a pause before taking out that phone when you're meant to have a coffee together, and so on and so forth, that's gonna have a massive impact. So share this with your partner.
Yeah, it's one of our most effective practices.
Mm.
Our marriage has come back online as a result of becoming diligent with this. We never get it perfect, but that's the support. There's always a support. Hey, yeah, you just came in home there. Where are you in your mind? Yeah, and then we'll smile, and we'll find that the next time we do it, we bring greater energy to it. It becomes a real teamwork. So, yeah, that's the challenge to people at home. Bring this to your partner. This can transform your marriage like no other practice. It's amazing.
Yes, that's
That was awesome.
it.
Thank you so much, guys, for listening in to this episode. Between now and the next episode next week, yeah, dare to go get what you want in marriage. Bye,
Bye.
guys.